Not me hugging, ow, my books. Literally giving them a hug. Like I was actually just giving my books a hug.
Why are you the way that you are?
Hey guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title, today we're gonna be doing the mid-year book tag. I did one of these last year and honestly kind of forgot that it was a thing until I saw Sarah posted one. Got these questions from her video that she just posted a few days ago. So I'm gonna be answering those questions and giving you guys all my thoughts on the first 6 months of my reading for 2024. And the first question is the best book I've read in 2024. Now let me just start by saying this isn't necessarily the best work of writing I've ever read. It's not the most impeccable writing, the most beautiful sentences, but it is the book that I have read this year that has stuck with me the most, that I think about the most, that I enjoyed so much while reading it, that these characters heavily stuck with me, that the things they go through heavily stuck with me, and just also I did really love the writing. Now again, maybe not the best writing I've ever read, but I would say it's my favorite and best book that I read this year, and that is The Stand-In by Lily Chu. If you are not new here, you have heard me talk about this because ever since reading it, I have talked about this non-stop. I actually ended up listening to it on Audible because it was on Audible for free and I had the physical copy and I wanted to get some books off my physical TBR. So I started it on a whim. And let me just say, it was the best decision that I've ever made because I loved it so much, obviously, or wouldn't be the answer to this prompt. Basically, I loved how our author, Lily Chu, wrote her characters, how she formulated her story, how each of these characters have so much depth to them. You really get a feel for their personality, the struggles they're going through in real life. These characters felt so real. They felt like real people living with real issues out in the world and not really knowing how to deal with it, with the added aspect that the kind of main plot point in this probably wouldn't happen in real life. I loved it so much. The tension and the banter and the chemistry between our main couple in this was amazing. I genuinely just loved how she formulated this story, and I then went on to listen to her 2 audiobooks after this one, and I've loved every single one of them. I just love her writing so much. And moving right along to how many books have I even read so far in 2024? My goal for 2024 is 75 books. I have currently read 26, and let's check my Goodreads because I am very behind on my reading goal. I think I'm 11 books behind. I'm 11 books behind on my reading goal for the year, which is so bad, but hopefully by the end of July I will have caught up. Let's really hope that I can catch up. But anyways, I have read 26 books so far. And moving on to the next question, we have the best sequel I have read so far in 2024. Now I do have 2 books for this because the second I read this prompt, I immediately thought of both of these books and could not put one over the other. So the 2 books that are the best sequels I have read in 2024 is The Hawthorne Legacy and Heartless by L.C. Silver. This is the second in the Chestnut Spring series, and I honestly didn't really like Flawless, the first one, and I randomly had a gut feeling that I should read this at the beginning of the year, and I read it and I fell in love with it. It's a 4.75 star read for me. It would have been a 5-star had one very specific scene not happened, because I did not like that scene at all and it literally knocked it down. But otherwise, I was so thoroughly obsessed with this and I genuinely was so surprised reading this and falling in love with it that I was falling in love with it. I loved our main characters in this, Kate and Willa, and I loved their relationship, and it's a single dad trope, and if you know me, you know I love a good single parent trope, so that made it all the better. And then The Hawthorne Legacy is the second in the Inheritance Games trilogy, and guys, this book is so heavily annotated. Like, let me just show you. Now, at the time of annotating this, I didn't have any tabs or highlighters, but there is so many underlines and just there's so much pin markings in this. Like, I feel like it's hard for you to tell, but I really did, okay? I loved this so much more than I was expecting. Like, I loved the first book, but I read this and I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed, I'm in love. I could not get over our main characters. I couldn't get over the mystery aspect we have in this series, but also the love triangle going on. Like, I genuinely just loved it so much. Something about this book felt like it had crack in it and I was eating it up so much. I actually read this in a reading vlog, so you can see my reactions in that video because I was literally just so in love, so obsessed. So those are the 2 books that are the best sequels I have read this year. And next question is a new release that I haven't read but I want to, and the answer to that one, I am only putting 1 book even though there is plenty, okay? That is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This is actually actually my book club book for July. So if you guys have been also wanting to read this, this just came out literally like a week ago or something, like very, very recently. If you guys want to read it with us, my Discord is down below for you to join and you can read along with us. But I love The 7-Year Slip by her, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading The Dead Romantics and this and just getting more of her writing style because it's beautiful, and the magical realism aspect in her books is so fun and so unlike any romance books that I've read. So very excited about this one. And the cover of this book is just so cute. The neon colors is just really, really scratching an itch in my brain, let me tell you. Next we have my biggest surprise, and this one might shock some of you and might not shock some of you, but my biggest surprise has been Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Listen, I'm a very hopeless romantic, cheesy, Hallmark movie loving girl. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to enjoy a dark romance. I thought I was gonna hate it. And why did I love it? Why did I love it? Why was I sitting there giggling, kicking my feet, like so obsessed? Like what? I don't know what happened to me. Okay, somebody must have taken over my body, because let me tell you, I didn't think I was gonna like this at all, but I ended up loving it, and I actually would love to continue the series and read more. Like I will be reading more dark romance, so this is kind of a surprise. No, it was a big surprise. Next is favorite author, debut, or just new to me in general, and I would definitely have to say my new favorite author that I have come across this year is definitely Lily Chu. Again, I have listened to this on Audible, but I have also listened to 2 more of her books, and every single one of them I have loved so much. Her writing style is perfection to me. I literally, like I was saying earlier, I'm not gonna go too much into it, but I just love how she formulates her characters and her stories, and I will be listening or reading everything she writes from this point forward. I love them so much. She's definitely a new fave. Next we have a book that made you cry. Now let me be so for real, I'm a very emotional person, so a lot of the books that I have read this year have made me cry. I would say out of the 26, just on a guess, at least 8 to 10 of those have probably made me cry at some point.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Because I cry very easily. But the one that has made me cry the most memorably, that's also literally on video because I was filming a reading vlog when I was reading this, is Addicted for Now by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 3rd in the Addicted series, and this book was so emotional. Let me just start by saying that the series in general is emotional. We have these 2 main characters, Lily and Lo, and they're dealing with addictions. We have Lo dealing with addiction to alcohol and Lily dealing with a sex addiction. So it's already just a very emotional story in general because they're dealing with these things and they want to stop and they love each other, but how can you love each other when you're enabling each other? If you get, like, that's the vibe. But this one just felt 10 times more emotional than the first 2. So much stuff happened in this book that just genuinely hit me to my core, and maybe it wasn't more emotional than the other ones, but maybe it's the fact that I was more attached and invested in these characters. I almost said my best friends. I cannot stress how much I love this series, and I would highly recommend it to literally anyone. It's so good, and yeah, this book made me cry quite a bit, many times while reading this did I shed some tears. And next we have a book that made me happy, and let me just start by saying a lot of these books make me happy. I read romance books, of course they make me happy, but there is only one book that I have read this year that I can say genuinely brought me joy, okay? And that was the only emotion that I really felt while reading this, was just pure bliss, pure happiness, joy.
I'm joy.
I'm hanging out with my best friends and I had so much fun, and there was nothing else going on in my brain, but man, I miss them, and it just brought me so much joy, and that is A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is technically the 3rd and a half, but I'm just gonna say the 4th book. This is the novella between A Court of Wings and Ruin and A Court of Silver Flames. So right now we're getting a break after all the craziness, and we are spending winter solstice with them, which is basically Christmas, and it's just a happy, fun book. We're just with our best friends and we're just having a good time, and you get more people's POVs in this book than we do in the other ones, which makes it 10 times more fun, and you really just get to be with them. And it brought me so much joy because this is one of my favorite series that I've ever read, one of my favorite universes that I have ever got to experience. So this book brought me so much joy. I buddy read this with my sister and she said the same. Like, it just made her so happy and brought her so much joy. So that's definitely the one for that. Okay, moving on to the most beautiful book I have bought this year. I feel like a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this, and that is totally okay, but something about this book is just so stunning to me and I love literally every inch of it, and that is Gothicana by Rumps. I don't know how to say that, okay, so don't come for me. Can't get over how stunningly beautiful. It has purple sprayed edges, but also, like, let's look inside the dust jacket. How stunning stunning. And each chapter has a different little picture. Like, they're all different. And it's just so beautiful to me how much art and everything goes into this book. I genuinely can't wait to read this. I'm definitely saving it for the fall time because I feel like it's gonna give those vibes. But this is definitely the most beautiful book I have purchased this year. And it literally, I have it displayed right here because of how utterly beautiful I think it is. And I'm really struggling to get this dust jacket back on. There we go. That's the answer to that one. Next up is books I want to read by the end of the year. Now, there is a lot of books that I want to read by the end of the year, and the ones that I do have a physical copy of, I'm not gonna grab because that would be too many. So I'm just gonna quickly tell you guys what books I want to read by the end of the year. A just short little list, okay? We have Emily Henry books and Abby Jimenez books. I just really want to read some of their work, and there may be some videos coming with those themes very, very soon, so stay tuned. I want to finish the Magnolia Park series. That has been on my list for so long and I need to do it. I also really want to start reading my Dragon Ball manga, one of my favorite universes ever, one of my favorite shows ever, and I want to read the manga so bad. And The Final Gambit, which is the final in the Inheritance Games trilogy. I'm so excited to read that book and finish the trilogy because of how much I loved the second book. I just can't wait to finish it out, see what else happens, and just be with those characters one more time. The next question is, how many 5-star reads have I had this year? And to answer that question, I have had 7, which I feel like is a pretty good number for me reading 26 books this year. So very happy about that. Okay, and the next question is, what books do I want to reread this year? Now, realistically, will I reread all of these? Probably not. But would I like to? Yes. And that's the question. So to answer that question, here's just a few. Okay, there's honestly lots of other books I would love to reread. By a Thread by Lucy Score being one of them, but surprisingly I didn't put it in this stack. But I did just tell you, so it still counts. I would love to read There's Something About Mary come Christmas time. I read this not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, and literally loved it. And it's a single parent trope. So now that I know how much I love single parent tropes, I would love to reread this. It was a 4.5-star read for me when I first read it, but I feel like I'll just love it even more as a reread. So I would love to reread this. I also would love to / already started rereading Magnolia Parks. This is the first in the Magnolia Park series, obviously, and I have already started rereading it because I wanted to fully annotate it, tab it, and I'm gonna do a whole video of me rereading this and reading the rest of the series. I started rereading this like a while ago though, and then I took a pause because I was moving. So when I decide to pick this back up, reread, and read the rest of the series, I'll see you there. I will, because it's gonna be a video. And I would also love to reread The Worst Best Man and The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. These are the first 2 romance books I ever read when I started getting into reading, and they hold such a special place in my heart, and I really would love to reread them to see if I'm gonna love them as much now that I've read so many books, or if it was kind of just like hey, you were my first book, you were my first romance book, and I love you, but you're not the best. I'm really curious which one it's gonna be, but I feel like I'm gonna love these even with a reread as much as I did the first time, if not more, but you never know. So I would love to reread these. Next is a book I enjoyed that had mixed reviews. This is a book I read on my Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and let me just say, I was very nervous going into reading this book because Destiny and Sarah, you know, the book girlies, I trust their opinions. They both read this book and DNF'd it and hated the main male character, couldn't get through the book because they just did not like it. So I was very, very nervous that I wasn't gonna like it. But for some reason I had a gut feeling that I needed to read this book right in this moment. So I did, and I loved it. And that is Mile High by, what is her name? Why can I not remember her name? Liz Tomford, that's her name. This is a hockey romance, and I loved it so much. I enjoyed our 2 main characters. I loved seeing where they started at and where they end up by the end of the book. Character growth that they have in this book, especially our main male character, has such great character development. He really does go from being kind of a player and a jackass to being such a sweet, lovable person, and I loved every second of this book. Like, genuinely, I ate this book up. I'm so excited to continue the series, which is the Windy City series. The next book is about our main female character's brother, Ryan, who's on a basketball team. So that one will be a basketball romance, but the whole series is sports romances. So we have hockey, basketball, and I believe the third one is baseball. But oh my god, I ate it up, and this is me telling you right now that whether you see lots of people or even one person saying that they hated a book, that doesn't mean you're going to also. And it also means the vice versa, that you're not gonna love it. So it's okay to be let down by a book, and it's also okay to read a book that other people hated and absolutely love it, because I loved this book, and I feel like there's so many books that you will hear bad things about that you might actually love. So don't let that turn you off from the book, because that could be one of your new favorite books just waiting for you to open it. And the last question is 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. Now, obviously you can never never be too sure if a book is gonna be 5-star, which is why it's a prediction, okay? Why did I just explain that? I don't know.
Hey, nobody cares.
But anyways, the first one is one I don't have a physical copy of, and that is Deadly as the Throne by Lindsay J. This is my most anticipated read of the entire year, and I'm waiting to read it until I'm in the mood. Heavy as the Crown is the first in this series, and I read it last year. It was the first fantasy book I ever read. It was YA, fast-paced, a little bit on the shorter side, but I fell in love with it. From the first sentence, I was captivated, and I was so enthralled in the story. I love medieval vibes, and it's a medieval vibe fantasy, and I loved it so much. It's a 6-star read for me. I think about it all the time. It is one of my highly most recommended books. I've literally recommended that book to so many people, and I've had a few of you guys read it and also love it. The second one, Deadly as the Throne, has come out. It came out May 30th, and I am so excited to read it, and I'm highly anticipating that book being a 5-star read for me. The first one leaves off on a huge cliffhanger, so I'm very excited. I do plan on making a whole video of me doing a reread of Heavy as the Crown and then reading Deadly as the Throne. I'm so excited. Other than that though, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I do plan on reading this whole interconnected standalone series, which is Part of Your World, then Yours Truly, then Just for the Summer. But for some reason, my gut is telling me I'm gonna like this one the most. For some reason, my gut is telling me this is going to just be a 5-star. Just do it for me. I'm gonna fall in love with it. And my gut could be wrong, but it might be right. So, and we have The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the last in the Inheritance Game series. I just love the second one so much. I feel like it's gonna feel so good to be with the characters again, and I'm highly anticipating loving this. And I'm also highly anticipating loving Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Guys, you know, if you're watching this, then you probably watch other booktubers and book talkers and bookstagrammers, and you know that this book is so hyped up, it's so beloved, and I'm very excited about it. I also recently, literally actually today, found out that these books by her are closed door. I'm very excited about that because I have just grown to realize that I do prefer closed door books. Now that doesn't mean I steer away from books with smut. I have so many books that I have read and will read that have smut in them, but I don't need it in a book to be satisfied and happy with the content I'm reading. So I'm honestly kind of excited about the fact that this is closed door to just give me a little bit more of the tension and the banter and the chemistry without it being like solely physically based, if that makes sense. And then lastly, Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. Like I was telling you guys earlier, no, I was not telling you this in this video. Actually, I was telling you guys this in my June wrap up, but so if you haven't seen that, go watch it. But I fell in love with Wes, the main guy in this book. In our first book, Done and Dusted, I just really resonated with him as a character and as a person, and I'm so excited to read his book. I feel like this is gonna be a 5-star. I feel like I'm gonna fall in love with him even more and fall in love with our main girl character, his love interest, Ada, I think is how you pronounce her name. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited, and I'm highly anticipating a 5-star read out of this. And honestly, I might be reading it soon, so keep a lookout on my Goodreads to see if I'm reading this, to see if I actually rate it 5 stars. So with that being said, that is all the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just cannot describe to you how happy I am to be back filming more, posting more, and have my house like furnished and it's clean, and it's just really inspiring me. I'm so excited for all the reading vlogs and videos I'm going to be filming. So with that being said, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already, because we have a lot of fun over here and we want you to join the fun. And with that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. My throat hurts. 2 videos filmed. I'm back, baby. All of my thoughts from the first what? So let's see how so the oh my god, my throat. Stand up for it. At this current point in time, 26 Vicks so far. Oh my god. I am a very helpless, whoa, a quart of frost. Oh no, my camera battery is flashing at me. This is not good. This is not good. I'm not done talking to you. I'm not. Okay, I feel like this is gonna die. Literally. The I also would, oh my god. If you, love you, bye.